All right. Good evening. We are we are back for day three of Advent of Code, and I've made a I've made a executive decision and decided to try Rider, which is a IDE kind of oriented towards .NET, made by JetBrains. The reason why I decided to use Rider tonight is because the last 2 days and for the remainder of Advent of Code, my plan is to use a newer testing library that targets the new Microsoft testing platform, which is Microsoft's new alternative to VS Test, or I guess what will come to probably replace VS Test at some point. Um, but I ran into a little bit of a bug in Visual Studio Code where I couldn't debug my tests, which is kind of painful in a thing like Advent of Code where you kind of want to be able to dig in to the nitty gritty of test cases. So I took a little bit of time earlier today, set up Rider, got it kind of configured so it's somewhat similar to my VS Code setup, and made sure that I could debug my tests. So that's why my editor probably is going to look a little bit different than maybe it has the last couple videos. Okay, so I did not do my project setup ahead of time like I did last night, so you're going to have to bear with me while I set that up. So we're going to make a new directory. We're going to call 3. We'll cd into 3. We're going to say .NET new console, and we're going to call it Mull it over. I usually just name the projects the name of the puzzle. So we're going to go .NET new, mull it over, and then we're also going to add another console app, .NET new console out mull it over test. And this is kind of weird using a console app for my test project, compared to like if you're familiar with using XUnit or InUnit or or MS Test. But for this new library, hold on, the music's a little loud. Let me turn that down. This new library is called TUnit. And this is how you set up one of their projects. Because essentially in this new testing platform, your test project basically just gets output as an executable. So it's just it's basically just like a console app. So you basically create a console app and then you add the TUnit package to it, and you just get rid of the program.cs and start writing your tests. So I'm going to make that now. And this is the documentation site for the TUnit, that the test framework that I've been talking about. So it has pretty good documentation to get started. I've kind of just scratched the surface, but so far, no complaints. Okay, so we've got these guys here, which is good. What do I need to do next? I need to .NET add, roll it over, test. Which Rider, actually, the editor, I get it. I understand now why people like this, or not editor, I should say, this IDE. I totally understand why people had historically paid for this, but now Rider's free for a non-commercial use. So let's go ahead and add my package. It's going to be TUnit. I need the pre-release version. Did I not add that right? Package TUnit. You do this once and then you forget. Why didn't that work? Oh, then I didn't spell pre-release right. Pre-release. There we go. So we'll add that in there, and then we'll just delete the program.cs, which, how do I do that? I feel like I should just be able to delete it. Well, okay. I don't like that I have to go multiple context menus away to delete something. But so be it. Okay, so yeah, so now we've got our T-unit reference, which will give us everything we need for the test framework. We need a reference to the actual project over here, so we'll say .NET add reference. Okay, so now our projects are tied together. And then we just need to add them to the solution. 03, whatever. And cool. And then the last thing, I don't want it to, there's some things that I don't like it when it yells at me about. So I'm going to copy those from over here. How do I? Forgive me, there we go. Trying to learn a new ID at the same time as also setting this up. Okay. And over here. It's great. And then I'm going to have an input that I want to copy. Grab that. I'm not used to the solution view that Rider is giving me. Okay. So I got my project set up. Now let's make sure that builds. Or at least make sure the solution still builds. Build. Oh, something broke. Oh, because I don't have an input. Yep, that makes sense. I'm gonna add file. This is gonna be input.txt. Do you want to add the following to Git? If you choose cancel, you can yes add. And I also need problem.md. Okay. Oh no, cancel. I don't want to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and close everything. Try to build again. This time it should work. Nice. Speedy. Okay. Let's go ahead and get our problem. Oh, this is like a preview pane because it's interesting. Okay, so let's go get the problem here. And this isn't really necessary to like put the problem in your repo, but I did it last year. Primarily just because I thought it would be cool to kind of have the problems for years to come, or at least be able to reference them. Let's see. Can I toggle what word wrap? I don't know how to do that in Writer. Writer, toggle, Control E. No, doesn't work back. Control E W. Maybe toggle word. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's Alt Z. Alt Z? Alt Z. Nice. Okay. Back over here. All right, so we've got some of this is in backticks. We haven't even got to the good stuff yet, have we? That's all right. We will. We will. Have faith. I'm not a huge fan of this mouse I'm using. I think we haven't really read this yet, but I think there's going to be some regular expressions needed. Okay. Yeah, that's good enough for me. And then let's get our input real quick, and then we'll read the problem. Get my puzzle input. Copy. Fantastic. I wonder why these are red. They're not committed or something. Writer. Why? Project names. Huh. Well, in any event, I'm not going to let that distract me. Okay, what are we doing here? We need to read our puzzle. Okay. All right. So our computers are having issues. So I have no idea if we have any chief historians in stock. You're welcome to check the warehouse, though, says the mildly flustered shopkeeper at the North Pole Toboggan Rental Shop. The historians head out to take a look. The shopkeeper turns to you. Any chance you can see why our computers are having issues again? The computer appears to be trying to run a program, but its memory, your puzzle input, is corrupted. All the instructions have been jumbled up. It seems like the goal of the program is to just multiply some numbers. It does that with instructions like Mull, open parens, x, comma, y, close parens, where x and y are each 1 to 3 digit numbers, for instance. So Mull 44 and 46 multiplies 44 by 46 to get a result of 2024. Fitting. I see what you did there. Similarly, multiplying 123 or Mull 123 and 4 would multiply 123 by 4. Okay, that seems easy enough, straightforward. However, because the program's memory has been corrupted, there are also many invalid characters that should be ignored, even if they look like part of a Mull instruction. Sequences like Mull, partial, sequences like this, that, this, or this do nothing. So we can basically ignore them and throw them away. This will be our example input here. Let me turn down the music a little bit. It's still a little loud for me. Hopefully that's not too quiet for you guys. Just sounds loud in my ears. Turn it down here. Okay. So this is our example input. There's only 4 highlighted sections, which are real Mull instructions, multiply instructions. And then adding up the result of each instruction produces 161. So scan the corrupted memory for uncorrupted Mull instructions. What do you get if you add up all the results of the multiplications? All right, so this seems straightforward, but now it makes me kind of concerned for part 2. So let's go ahead and our program.cs is going to take that same structure as all our other projects. We're just going to have Okay. All right. So we've got this. We don't have a puzzle parser yet, but we can get one. Get one. All of that's going to stay the same. This we don't need right now. Let's go ahead and make a class called puzzle parser. Class puzzle parser. Yes. Let's do public void parse string lines. Actually, I think this actually just needs to be a string. Ah, this mouse is fighting back against me. Because the reason why I don't want to read all the lines, I want to read all text async. This is going to be instruction. So let's go ahead and make a class called instructions. And that's going to have a public what would they call those? What do you call the two numbers you multiply? Multiplying. So multiplying 1 and multiplying 2. Yeah. And this is actually going to return a list. A list of cool. So just kind of stubbing things out. And what's the question? What the results of all? Okay, so this can just be results. The sum of instructions is results. For right now, results is just going to be 0. Typically, when I try to solve these things, I kind of try to take it in pieces. So the first thing I usually do is I just try to think about the parsing, right? Because all of these inputs basically come in unstructured data. It's just text in a text file. And so the first thing I usually try to think about is how do I parse that text into structures that make sense for how I want to work with it or the question that needs to be answered. So in this case, when I'm looking at this, to me, what makes sense is to basically just create a class that represents each individual instruction. Each individual instruction will have 2 numbers, so it'll have two different multiplicands, and then those will be a part of my instruction class, which is down here. And then my ultimate idea is then all the instruction has to do is call a method, multiply them, and return that value. So the first thing we're going to do is just return an empty so that it will compile. And then I'm going to start writing some tests so that I can actually test each piece as I go. So the first thing I'm going to implement is the parsing logic. So it's going to take the string, it's going to search it for each individual instruction, and then translate each individual instruction from just text to an actual instruction instance in my program. So let's go to our tests. Nope, not there. Let's go to our Explorer. And here, let's add a new file. Let's add a new class. We're going to call this puzzle parser tests. Yep. And since we're working with what I want to say, since we're working with TUnit instead of doing a fact attribute, which you would normally do in like XUnit, you just do a test attribute. And then all of the methods, all your test methods are basically going to be async because, well, they're going to be async if you're using TUnit's assertion library, because all of TUnit's assertions are asynchronous. So we'll do public task parse. Yeah, well, let's just start there, right? But let's capture the parser in a private field. There we go. But that puzzle parser is internal. And I need to make its internals visible using this guy. I also need to it really is wanting me to use 4 spaces, and I don't want to use 4 spaces. Okay, so that resolves now. Oh, I was going to try to turn off Copilot suggestions, disable completions. Yeah, there we go. Because I don't want Copilot solving this. I want to solve it. Because Lord knows Copilot will be able to solve this. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. We're going to say the input's just empty string. And we need to actually use the correct private field. Okay, assert that result dot is equivalent to does list have an empty? Maybe I should just say new list of instruction. And it doesn't like this because I'm not awaiting it. Like I said, TUnit's assertions are awaitable, which is kind of different. I haven't read enough to really get the gist of what they're doing there, but they have specifically a section in their docs that goes over all their assertions. So This serves two purposes. The await keyword is responsible for performing the assertion before you call await. We're building a chain of assertion rules. Okay, so that it's kind of almost like a way for them to deal with, I guess, that assertion chain better or easier, have more control over it. It allows executing and asserting on async delegates without performing sync over async. Yeah, that's that. Okay, so this test should pass now. Let's go ahead and refresh it. It's saying there's no. Well, that can't be true. I know there are tests. There's a test right there. Let's build it. Warning. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Why are my tests not showing up? There's something about these projects that it doesn't like. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, this is the part of these things where I get frustrated because the point is not to deal with the writer issues, it's to solve these puzzles. Writer projects are red. Oh, is that all that means? Is this they're not in the Git? Well, that's fine. Initial project setup for day 3. Oh, I need to enable that. I thought I already did that. There we go. I thought I had already done that. You have to enable, so whenever you're using testing platform, the Microsoft testing platform, you have to enable that in whatever your IDE or editor is, separate from VS Test. All right, let's run this. Boom, it passes. Awesome. Look at us. We're off to the races. Okay, so now let's actually get our input in there. I'm going to say this is private read-only string, and this is going to be our test test input. Go ahead and get this from over here. So I think I'm pretty sure what we can do is we can use a regular expression to get what we need out of here. So test public async task parse when given set of now one instructions, it should return list of actual instructions bar result parser dot parse test input. Convert to a constant. Oh yeah, we can do that. Const, and then it doesn't like the name. That's fine. Okay, await, assert that result is equivalent to, and we should be able to say new list of instruction. And then we can initialize it to new. And based on this, it should have an instruction with 2 and 4. And then it should have a new instruction with 5 and 5. And a new instruction of 11 and 8. And a new instruction of 8 and 5. So 4 instructions that look like that. What doesn't it like about that? Does it not? Okay, this is going to fail, obviously, because we haven't actually implemented that back in our program. We're just always returning an empty list. Just fine. So let's go ahead and run that so we see it fail. Is there like an easy way just to refresh other than I feel like I'm gonna be typing that a lot. Why is it not refreshing? Weird. Do I need to build it? Yeah, there we go. Run. This should fail. God, this rider's fast, man. Compared to what I was experienced yesterday with Visual Studio Code, this is just a much better experience so far. Okay, so let's go to actually solve the parsing part of this. I'm so slow when it comes. I bet some people were already done with part 2 by now. So we definitely need to add a using system dot text dot, there you go, expressions. And our regex instruction regex and regex is gonna look like this. So it's very literal because I said we can ignore basically anything that doesn't do what we want, or anything that doesn't have that shape, and the shape should always be MUL C and then I forget how you do going to be a des non. We want a this is really handy for regex. Non-digit? No, we want digit. But we are only accepting 3. And then a parentheses, and then the same thing again. And I think I actually need to, because I want to capture these values. So I think I actually need to escape that. I think that's going to match 3. I can't remember what the regex 3, yeah, 3 digits. But I want it to be 1 to regex 1 to 3 digits. Okay. So I actually have to specify that. I think this actually will. Does this give me an explanation of the regex? Yeah. Or I think Visual Studio Code does. I don't know if Rider does. What does this want me to do? Okay. And we can call this instruction regex. And then what we can do is we can say var matches equals is it string dot regex dot matches. So is it puzzle parser dot regex dot input like that? And then we can say some map. I'm not really sure the shape of the collection. I honestly don't know what these matches look like. So let's set a breakpoint right here. And let's debug this. Okay. Stop doing that. Debug test. This is what I was trying to do in VS Code last night, and I couldn't do it. All right. To be fair, I've never used Rider's debugger before, so I'm. Oh, there we go. So we got 4 matches. Nice. Wonderful. That's what we were expecting. And then what do the groups look like? So the groups have our matches in it. So these are the values that we captured up here. So we just need to get these groups and create a new instruction. Cool. So can we do this all in one? So if matches dot count is 0, let's return an empty collection. Otherwise, we should do matches dot select, and then we should do new instruction, and that's going to be equal to m dot groups 1 dot value dot parse. Why isn't it like that? And then parse m groups to list. Let's add some line breaks here. All we're doing yeah. Is this necessary? I don't think I need to check for 0, because I think it'll just return empty. This really wants me to make this static, but I don't want to make it static. All right, let's retry our test here. It worked? Yeah, it worked. Now let's retry this one. Yeah, that one worked. Okay. Cool. So now let's add a test for our instruction test.cs. This really is just to test one method to begin with. So test public async task, and then we're going to say instruction dot execute, and we're going to say when called it should return product of multiplicand is what they call multiplicand. That's a funny word. Multiplicand. So what would that look like? That would look like bar result equals new instruction to dot execute, and we would await assert that result dot is equal I'm probably not getting IntelliSense because execute isn't defined. So let's go ahead and declare that method. Does not return an action. It's going to return an int. It's going to multiply 1 times multiplicand 2. Easy peasy. Should be equal to 4. And this may seem, I mean, it probably seems a little pedantic that I'm solving these puzzles in this way where I'm trying to use separate classes and I'm trying to use this like kind of very object oriented programming approach. And it's really just purely I'm trying to develop good habits. I don't code every day for a living. I code because I enjoy it and I want to be better at it. And so I look for opportunities to practice it and do it. And so I figure if I'm going to spend time doing this, I should practice good what I think are good development habits. So I'm trying to practice kind of test driven development where it makes sense and when I can. So that's why it probably feels like a little bit of overkill of what I'm doing, but I believe in getting reps if you want to be good at something, and so I'm trying to get my reps. Go ahead and build this. Go back to our test suite. Go ahead and run these. Nice. So now basically all we should have to do at this point is in our main program, let's pull our puzzle parser into a separate class. Give it a namespace. Oops, namespace is going to be mull it over. And then in our program, we need to use that. Let's do the same thing for our instruction class. Let's pull that into a separate. Easy peasy. Yes, now we got our instructions, and then all we have to do is we just say instructions dot select I dot execute. That gives us our product, and then sum. So let's go ahead and run it with our actual input. Yeah? Sound good? A terminal. So we'll say .NET. .NET run -- project. We will say 03. Mull it over. Oops. And then we will say 03. Input.txt. Wow, that was fast. 28 milliseconds. Okay, let's see if this is. I'm hoping my regex is right. Hey! Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I think it took me more time to set the project up than solve part one today. Okay, I'm kind of scared about part two because that felt like a little too easy. Um, after last night's endeavor, which last night's day two, part two for me took like 4 hours. It was bad, and I had to have somebody in the chat was very nice and kind of was my rubber duck and helped me identify the edge case I was missing. I actually got everything right except one case. So the answer I was submitting was 458, and the actual answer was 459. Yeah, that was my day yesterday, but today's going much better. Let's hope it doesn't fall apart on part two. So there we go. That back over here. So far, I'm enjoying Rider though. It's very fast, very performant, which I like. I'm kind of still though. I can feel myself. I'm kind of like fumbling around in it very much. So let's continue to part two. Let's open up our problem. Make ourselves some more room. We're going to turn on word wrap. Part. Okay, so as you scan through, here we go. As you scan through the corrupted memory, you notice that some of the conditional statements are also still intact. If you handle some of the uncorrupted conditional statements in the program, you might be able to get an even more accurate result. There are two instructions you'll need to handle. The do instruction enables future Mull instructions. The don't instruction disables future Mull instructions. Only the most recent do or don't instruction applies. At the beginning of the program, Mull instructions are enabled. So for example, if you have this input, this corrupted memory is similar to the example from before, but this time the Mull and Mull instructions are disabled because there is a don't instruction before them. The other Mull instructions function normally, including the one at the end that gets re-enabled by a do instruction. This time, the sum of the results is 48. Okay, so it's basically, all right, before we start thinking about it, let's just get the housekeeping out of the way. Oops. That should be in ticks. Oops. Oh yeah. Keep doing that. I think my regex approach actually probably made this not super easy. If I walked the string, it probably would be a little easier, I'm thinking. Oh, nice. Even suggestion for me how I should make this cleaner. I don't know. I didn't write this. Writer, don't come at me. So when I do my matching, when I do my matching, it's gonna be a little bit different. Okay. Go back to our Explorer. Let's open up program. So I need different parsing logic and different. I think I just need a different parsing logic because I think when I do the results, I can just yeah. So parse with let's go into the puzzle parser. And let's also same. This is a different example. Edit class string part 2. So test public async task parse parse with condition. Parse and include condition. How about that? And given set of now and instructions, it should list of actual. Maybe parse with. I'm just gonna say parse with. I don't like that better. Ugh, excuse me. parse with conditions. We should be able to generate that method. The same thing, it's going to still return a list of instructions. But now what we can do is we can probably have two different, we can make instruction a base type. Why isn't it like that? Okay, this isn't restruct. This isn't. I don't think I know how, like in .NET, how to combine projects. It'd be nice to just be able to combine them. So let's do, well, first and foremost, let's build this. Let's build it. These should all fail. At least this one should fail. Nice. This is part 2 test input. And now, let's see. Now, we should get 2 and 4, 8 and 5. So we get 2 and 4, and 8 and 5. These are gone. But I should have a don't. I'm going to do. So like a new don't instruction and a new do instruction. And I'm purely going to use these types just for pattern matching is what my idea is when I'm actually doing the summing. So let's go to back to the Explorer. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a class, an abstract class of instruction. Purely, and the only reason for this is so we can have a base type. This will be a multiplication instruction. Oops. Oh, that's wordy, isn't it? That's wordy. Let's just go Mull. And that is a instruction. And then we're also going to have a do but don't instruction. Oh god. And a class do. I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could remove the. I've written a lot of C#. I didn't know you could do that. This should be Mull instruction. Cannot convert expression. Why not? You should be able to do that, right? Is it because I don't have? Why can't I return collection as base type collection? So I have to cast it? Huh. I honestly had no idea that you had to do that. How did I not know that you had to do that? New Mull instruction. I feel like I should have known that or run into that before. Okay, was that build? Yeah, I can't just do this anymore. Oh. What if I do an extension method? And class instruction CS public static class public static int execute this list of instructions. Did I forget how to write an extension method? Extension method in C#. I forget everything. I always have to look shit up. It's this list of instructions. Now in program.cs, I can just say instructions dot execute. And then the only conditional is going to be part 2 here. And if it is part 2, we are going to parse with conditionals. This is just so I can get the thing to compile. So we're basically going to have bar sum, that's 0. And then we're going to say for each bar instruction. Actually, we can do this with a switch. Can we? Let's just do it this way. In instructions, it's going to be one of 3, which means which var is enabled. What's that true? Is enabled becomes false. Case 2. It's going to be break. I actually don't, I shouldn't be implementing this. I should be implementing the regex. So for now, we do implement some logic. Just return some. Now. Okay, so let's go back to our parser. I'm actually going to change the name of this to be instructions. And now, okay, what does this regex need to be? This regex needs to be this, but also then we want to look for do. And we want to look for don't. Right, let's go back over here. That don't. That's verbatim string. Oh, nice. That's much cleaner. Makes much clearer what I'm doing here. Okay, so down here then, var matches is just going to be equal. Actually, var that. And then we're going to say var matches instructions dot matches input. And we're going to want to loop over these. And so we're going to say if match dot root dot oh well what No, that's all wrong. So if match dot groups 0 our first group equals map dot groups 0. Value. So if this value first group dot value or first group dot contains Mull, then we are gonna do training can't click the right keys tonight. No, because I'm going to do additional checks first. So if it's not, if it doesn't contain Mull, then check to see if first group dot contains an apostrophe. Then no, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. If I fall through here, I basically know what to do. Right? Yep. And then, oh, I know what I was doing here that felt weird. It was because normally in these situations, I do a for loop instead of a select statement, like I'm doing down here. Okay. Oh, that's what I already had. Okay, now we can go to our tests. And should be able to see if this passes now. Please pass, please pass. It did not pass. Oh. This should be parse with conditionals. So this one should pass, I think. Nice. Then I'm hoping this one passes. It does not pass. Okay, let's check our regex. So far, this is a much better experience than last night. Okay, let's see what matches we got here. So we have Mull, don't, Mull, Mull, do, Mull. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, because in this case, we're just grabbing them all. Um, so our test is wrong. So our test is wrong. Well, that's good. So in between here, we actually have new Mull instruction of 5 and 5. And new Mull instruction of 11 and 8. Yeah. So, whoops, yeah, stop debugging. So now I think this should pass. Yeah, wicked, wicked, wonderful. Okay, now we can go to the extension method and actually, let's actually add some test class for that. Let's actually put that in here. Actually, let's do that in a separate class. Instruction extensions. Yes. Test public. Um, public async class execute when called with no conditionals should return some, and then async class execute when called with conditionals. Uh, So we are just going to take this, copy, bar instructions. Let it. And then we say bar result equals execute, wait, assert, wait, insert that result dot is equal to 161. I'm gonna have something very similar for this, only instead we're gonna have these guys. And I think that's gonna be 0. So what we want to do at this point is we just want to for loop over instructions, and we just want to say our instruction if instruction is null, then we're gonna do some execute like that, and that should pass our first test. Cool. This one down here is going to fail though. This one should be 48. Run. Yeah, that's going to fail. Found 161. Okay. So are these? Okay. So we need to basically check if it's enabled. It's going to start an enabled state. Say if instruction is Mull and is enabled, and then we just need to disable and if instruction and then it's going to say if instruction is do is enabled. Oh, Let's use a switch. Nice, 48. Yeah. So like, yeah, that's let's see if this works for part 2. So close this, close the sidebar, go to the terminal. Yeah, we're just gonna parse with or without. If it's part 2, we parse with them. We're gonna execute them. Say .net run project. Oops. See if this is right. Yeah. Under 2 hours tonight. Oh man, yes, that was much better. Yeah, so I don't feel as incompetent as I did last night. Actually, last night I didn't feel incompetent because part 1 was like day 2, part 1, no problem. Part 2, day 2, day 2, part 1 was no problem. Day 2, part 2, that was a slog. I think I way overcomplicated it. I kind of got stuck in this idea that I needed to come up with some sort of recursive solution, but it really wasn't actually, that wasn't necessary. It's never necessary to make something recursive, but for some reason my mind got stuck in that rut. But eventually I got out of it, and we solved it. Today was much better though. Um, that's kind of my approach though. If you look at all the solutions, both from 2023 and so far for the first 3 days, this is kind of the approach I take almost every time, which is basically first parse the puzzle from unstructured data into a structured form that makes sense based on the question that's being asked, and then make use of that structured data, whether that data that's now in classes, to actually perform operations or change it or work with it, um, the way I do in like this extension method. Um, and honestly, I probably could have made an extension. I probably could have made a class that was like, puzzle solver that took in the list of instructions and then did the same work on it. I just liked this. I liked this API look of, I have a list of instructions. I should be able to execute them, um, and 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 C# has extension methods, which make that easy to implement. It's just nice. Oh, the one thing I was gonna do is I was gonna add some actual. I always like to add tests for the actual input file, so I'm gonna add those real quick. Um, puzzle input tests dot So we're going to private read only puzzle parser, and then we're going to have private async pass that returns string, and that's just going to get puzzle input. Our input path is going to equal path.line at context.base directory input.txt return await file.read all text async, and then I'll say I have two test methods, public async task, so solve in given input it should solve part 1. So we say var input equals await, get the puzzle input, var instructions, var result equals parser dot parse input dot execute. So that's nice. That's a nice. I think that's a nice experience. That is to. I don't even remember what my answers were. This guy. And then do the same thing for part 2. Only thing different there is we use the conditional parser. And we take this guy, circle, think of that guy, and build this. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with using Rider, man. This has been a fantastic experience using this so far. And there's probably more to it that I don't even know. Awesome, 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 awesome. Let's just run all the tests. Fantastic. They all pass. Okay. All right. Let's go to the README. This was a Mull it over. Thank goodness this wasn't a repeat of day 2. So I wonder if Rider has a way to format this. Be nice if they did. I'm just gonna open it in VS Code and just format it in there because I know I have an extension to do that. Problem. No. Read me. This guy. Format. Nice. Nice and pretty. Wonderful. Okay, now we'll commit it. Feature solved day 3. Oh, commit them all. Do I need to push? Oh, I probably need to push. Yeah, there's so much about Rider I just don't know at this point. But I'm gonna learn it because man, it is a really nice dev experience. Okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope if you're doing admin of code, you're having a good time as well. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. Tonight was way better than last night, and hopefully that trend continues. It probably won't, because it seems like they get harder and harder as you get closer to day 25. Last year I made it through day 14, and then was kaput. So hopefully my goal is to make it through day 15 this year at the very least, if not further. So yeah, I will see you guys. I'll see you for the next one. Excuse me.